I'm checked the mice that memo met all of the nishpas get about the woman time is in the get strong of Yitzchak and the raise was go to Yerushalmi for the minute that's kind of still Yerushalmi I run the Yerushalmi they Mordechai ben Ephraim Yehuda in Shmosei. So what are we holding up by? So we're holding here the kasha on the bottom of Memo met Aleph. The Mishnah says it's seldom Shishu. The Mishnah is on Lamed Ches. Excuse me. You have these onions, and you it made a root, took root into the ground, not in the ground, on the aliyah, on the roof. Is Toru Minatamet. It takes root in the offer, in earth, but it's on the roof. Becomes Toru Minatamet. The tumor goes away. Why? Because there's a pasuk in the Torah called the Chomadashin, and it's called Zera Zerua. Zera Zerua, you take a seed and you plant it, even though it's not in the ground, it's wherever it is, it's planted, tumor goes away. Ma'aseh Enkein, the Gemara says that when you get to everything else, Trumas and Maises, it's not considered Bikarka, it's not considered planted, it's not Chayiv in Trumas and Maises. The Gemara says, the Psalm Shishu, Memo with Aleph, 3 lines from the bottom. But Psalm Shishu, B'yachem B'shem Rabbi Yanai, Aremish, but Psalm Shishu, it took root, Shetolish Mehem, the Shabbos, if you take it out of the ground, the Shabbos, pot it. You pot it. Tumah goes away. So the Tumah goes away because Zera Zerua, it's planted in the ground. What's the difference? It's on the roof. Well, not on the roof, it's in earth. So the Chayil should be a Mechuber. Pot it, why? The Gemara doesn't say because it's not in the ground. The Gemara says she'einai roitze ba'ashiro shosam. He doesn't want this to be connected to the ground. It's not in his will that he wants it. Look at the Rash Tzarila. This we didn't see yesterday, but it says like this: Reimish Betzolim on left side of the 3 lines in the bottom. Kederach haBetzolim lases sumusonim afilu asurim ereimah. You put it into like in a basket. Atalish men potter. Avalasa, it's potter avalasa. My time, why is it potter? The ain't right to be shemushon. We got the Shabbos, bina melechas my Shabbos. When you get to Shabbos, there's a cloud. Everybody knows it has to be melechas my Shabbos, meaning something which you want to do. If you don't want it, it's not considered a melacha. So the problem is here, alamo melechas my Shabbos is in the ma'aser. You do a ma'aser, you don't want this ma'aser, so it's felt melechas my Shabbos. It's a ptur by Shabbos. Over here. It's not the word he doesn't want it. He did what he did. He wants to do this. But then he doesn't need the ashrasha. He doesn't want this. It should take root. Why is that up to Melechus Mashavas? He's doing the action. The action that he's doing, he wants this action. So what is it that ain't roitze b'ashrasha? And that's really the Gemara. And he says because of Melechus Mashavas. And this fake the Gemara. No base fake the Gemara. Amalei b'shim belokish. Look at Shimon ben Lakish. What's his? What's the tushtel? My ichbulei Shabbos the gabe meises. Why are you comparing Shabbos to meises? In other words, my ichbulei Shabbos gabe meises. Look at the plain Shchiat alom with chiyuv Shabbos me'inyan chiyuv meises. Are you learning out the chiyuv of Shabbos from the chiyuv of meises? By meises, we say that the meises doesn't go away. But meises, if this was meises, trumas and meises. It's not now in the ground, it's on the roof. On the roof, it's not considered mefubah l'karka. So the chiyuv ma'ases are still here. Zera Zerua is a miyat by tumah. But not megay trumas is ma'ases. It's not on the ground, it's on the roof. The toli beroitze b'ashra soson oiloi linyan Shabbos k'moed linyan ma'ases. You want to tell me that Shabbos is the same thing the negay to Shabbos and negay to ma'ases? It's not the same. Look at my fool. The heich medamina Shabbos to Ma'aser. The point of it. How you medama Shabbos to Ma'aser? Just like we say Shabbos does the Ma'aser doesn't go away. The fact that you planted on the roof. The high time of the time that you're saying is because why Shabbos you should be potter. Ain't a roitz b'shos. He doesn't want it to take the root. Who time the poitim in a Ma'aser kishinishish baliyah is the same time because it's nishish baliyah. It's not the same thing. V'achi tanin behedya b'tesefta. Ma'aser basachi yeshrisha baliyah. If it took root Baliyah on the roof, B'chaskos and the Maisa Shviyas, Shviyas and the Maisa stays, doesn't go away. It's like you put into a flower pot. The Gemara holds that when you get the Trumas and Maisa planting in Baliyah, you plant it on the rooftop, this is not considered something which should be Matal the Trumas and Maisa. Eine mitam, the Eine Roitze Bashus. Also, the Eine Mechaven the Ziyah, because you're not Mechaven to the Ziyah, if you made a Ziyah, you made a Ziyah. The Ilu Roitze Choshe Mishum Maisa. And if he doesn't want that shosha, then you are going to be chosh that it's not ma'aser. You want to say that it's bottom in a ma'aser. As I afraid the Gemara. What? Yeah. Should be different. So to kick ahead, Rashul. I forgot the Gabe ma'aser same because kosom. When you get to the ma'aser, it doesn't move. The fact that now you planted it, it's only a miyad when you get zera zerua is only a miyad when you get to tumah. For everything else, you put it on the roof. What's enough committed? Das heißt nicht angepflanzt. Das heißt nicht bewattelig gewesen. Chit an der Chayve meistens beschwie ist, ki nofel allein mapoides. Das is steht in the Mishnah weiter. That nofel allein mapoides is as if it's going to do in besoda. Das steht in the Mishnah. Mishnah Lamed Ches says at the sof, nofel allein mapoides ein mugulin, alim amugulin, the leaves are still open, and they can do in besoda. Why that the Gemara doesn't ask on that? For Zukta Ben Moshe, Kinafel Lema Pois Holo Nafel Lema Chayve Isa Bebraisa Hoki Begemara. Abel in Shabbos Mashma the Chayev Chatas. When you get to Shabbos, we do say it's Chayev Chatas. The dummy, in other words, if it's Nafel Lema Pois, the mind of mean and Peish Moish Rotzim Haim Man the Tolish Petura Miuna the Chatzve. Somebody took off. He took off from a kili, some grass that grows on it, and he took off the grass. He took it off, and even though it's not connected to the ground, it's chayiv. For us, oike dove migdula. The Gemara says that on Shabbos, thus has oike dove migdula. Even though it's not on the ground, it just happens to be going like a moss that goes on the caleb. Who had in nami hachi kim the chayu lasis mitzunim oike dove migdula. This has the oike dove migdula. This is daike bekach. It's those state in the Gemara that the Rashi really brings this Gemara. What's the Rashi? The Gemara that Kuf Zainu and Beis, the last line of the Gemara is like the Gemara Zoy. Hai man the Tolish Kishuse mihizme vihiga mechayev mishum oike dove migdule. Hai man the Kishuse humlen v'goda mitoich ha'hizme mereach hakarka ha'hizme yonik nimenu mechayev. This is not coming from the ground itself. This is coming like it's a moss that grows on the kelim. And if you take that off, you chayiv. Because the meaning be alma mavina rovi, we vaxtus, it comes from the air. Amar Abaye, haim man the tolish pitura miyuna. Pitura is like these mushrooms. The chatzah mechayiv mishum oike dav migdula. It's considered oike dav migdula. If somebody takes out something which is growing in a flower pot that has a hole in it, it's potter. And here you tell me it doesn't grow in the ground. It's like an otzid sheninokim. Why are you telling me over here that somebody takes petura miuna? He takes off this moss that grows on top of the kelim. Why it's not in the ground? It's otzid sheninokim. And for the Gemara, by Otzah Sheninokev is under. Hossam lav haini revisei, hoche haini revisei. Lav haini revisei. Zok Rashi, the ein der zriya shom, avol ilu shomanu hu ike gedulon. It depends. If there's a way to gedulon, this normal way of gedulon, that was Mr. Chaim. Even though it's not in the ground. But this is ike gedulon. This is the way it grows. It's not the normal way of doing it. This kind of the Rashi. You see that even though it's not mechuba to the ground, but finessing it's revise, that's the way people work with these plants. If that's the way it works with the plants, Mr. Chaim. Kick it on Nachamo. Look at that. I'm man the Tolish Beturim Miyuna, the Chatzim, the Chayiv, Mishumaka Dov Migdulai. So that's considered Oike Dov Migdulai. And the Rambam in Perek Ches, Haloch Gimel, Shabbos, the Rambam, Koitze Greg is Chayiv, but Toilish told us Koitze, Chola Oike Dove Migdula Chayiv Mishum Koitze. The Fikach Tzroi She'oli Ba'esavim, a rock. She'oli Ba'esavim has the moss that grows on the rock. That's what we're talking about. But Kishu She'oli B'sneh B'asavim She'tzomchu Agabe Achavis. This is a savin, in other words, it's like a grass that grows on the chavet. It's not connected to the ground. It just happens to grow from the moisture. It grows on top of the kelim. Hatoilish mehem chayiv shezehu mokim giduloi gidulon. Ava hatoilish motzet sheini nokiv potem ibnei shein zeh mokim giduloi. This and also sheini nokiv and a chanami put into a flower pot, but that's not mokim giduloi. Mashen can do rocks. But these other things that grow in the wild, and there's things that grow on top of the rocks, and it's not connected to the ground. It's the chayiv. Why you chayiv? That's normal. That's not tilach. It's nature. That's how it grows. It's the chayiv because that's called oike dove migdulon. That's in its environment, and it grows like that. It's the taka chayiv. Comes again the Rasirah and the Gemara. What steht on in the Gemara? What do you mean it's telling you what you want? You don't want. What's else to with I'm willing? We will ever see such a thing that when you get to Oike Zayin Dov and Megdul, it's telling you and you're rotzen? Look at Rasirah. I forgot the Gabi Mice the same because Kosten doesn't go away, and it's only a din, Zera Zerua, but when you get to what? Only when you get to Tumah, Chitanan, the Mechayv of Mice is Bishuyis, Kinofla Lema Poilis. Those are Shait in the mission, Nofla Lema Poilis. It's Kizuru Abasada, Olay Nofla, Loy Mechayev, Isa Bryce Ochi Bigmod, Abling Shabbos, Mashma, the Chayev Chatos, Shabbos said the Yechidua Chayev Chatos, the Domi Lamai, the Mamin, and Peik Shmoni Shrotzim, is high man, the Tolish Betul, the Miuna, the Chatzva. Somebody takes off the grass, or the moss, that's called, from a Kalim. Chayev Mishimoki Dov Migduloi. Even though it's not in the ground, but oike dov migdulon. Chayev mishum mokim gedulon, not geduloi, gedulon. That's its environment. Don't box das, that's the nature how it goes. The mother is like the rash. This has chayev chatas chatos. I'm on the job to the chatzos chayev mishum oike dov migdulon. Who adinami hochi kivin the chayu lases misuna. This oil chaim that he's making on top of the roof. This is the normal way of doing these things. Of the shroshim, you take these onions and you put it underneath the mapoilas. That's a normal way of doing it. So hey, says dova migdulon. That's in its environment. And then there's okay. This is the chayim. But nish. It's telling daka bekat. So do a thing. Rabbi say do a shtickle for chaim in the stencils. Look the chaim. That there's two dinim. This is when I get to Mechubal Karka that we say that Oike Dov Migdulam Yechayev is only when I get look to the tiny to know when I get to Shabbos. For us, when I get to Shabbos is considered something which is Haini Revisei, it grows from the ground. It has its nourishment from the ground. Masha Enken, when I get to Trumas and Maises, Tiny to Chaim, there has to be a Mechubal Karka. Mechubal Karka is not. Maises is not Mechubal Karka. It's on a rock. It's on a tzur. And that's not called mitzvah kaba. Ober revisei means, he says, haini revisei, when it gets its nourishment, that comes from the karka. So somebody puts it in otzitz, nokav even, it goes through, and it can get a revisei from the karka. Ober mechubel the karka does not. So maybe a little uptown of crime, and a tiny when you get to trumas and maises, when you get mitzvahs atluis boris, that has to be mechubel the karka. Ober it's in the get to the dinim of Shabbos that it has haini revisei, it's coming from the ground. Its nourishment is coming from the ground. Those are under the dark. Those are Mr. Yochai. But they will tiny up chaim. So maybe they can't sign up. But he said, "This is a mamish looking for what? He's not tolish from the ground. A rock is a rock. It's not coming from the ground. But there's shaitan the mod yichayv. When you get to Shabbos yichayv. Tiny was oiki dovim migidulon. About this comes from the ground. It gets its sustenance comes from the ground. What?
It's like a tanai, the fact that it comes from the
Yeah, that's the din. It comes from there. But when you get it, mechubel kaka hastes. Those times. The matter is what? Mushrooms, same thing. Yeah. So this will come out. Yeah, not from the ground. But where's getting the nourishment? Where does that come from? You have to know. So listen to this halacha. It's halacha in Shulchan Aruch Shin Lamed Vov Sif Yud Beis. Stay da so. Tainim sheyavshu b'yivayim. Pish m'ukayim is like the Rama. The mocking do always get taken to tainim. They're dried out figs. V'chein ilon sheyavshu. A tree is dried out. Yavshu peiroisov. A toilet, yeah, it's dried out. So if it's dried out, means it's not unique from the kaka anymore, right? The mechaber a toilet shmehem b'Shabbos chayiv. You take out of the ground something which is yavish, meaning it's not growing anymore from the ground. Afa pi shehem beikuron le'inyan tumah. Even though it's mitigated tumah, hases ki ikuron, as it's not in the ground anymore, the tumah goes away. Why does tumah go away? Because nekem and akaka. It's the mechaber. It's the mechaber. It's mamish in the Gemara. He says that if you take it out, if it's in the yavish, mitigated tumah nishtot. Why is the tumah not here anymore? Because it's ki ikuron dami. It's not because zera zerua is a special thing, but zera zerua samir takra. But even though when you get to tumah, it is nekem and akaka, but when you get to Shabbos, haste this that you chayav on Shabbos. Why you chayav on Shabbos? Tell me it's not a mechuber. That's why the tumah goes away, because it's not mechuber the gaga. But what's the pshat? It's not the Shabbos. What's the state of the mechaber? Comes the Mag Avraham. V'nidali the basavim yivation. If it would be grass, which is dried out, kulam amoidin the kedushin dami. Then everybody's masking. He says it's kedushin dami, and you wouldn't be chayav on Shabbos. Number 10. So what's he talking? Te'enim sheyavshu b'yivayim, ilim sheyavshu peiroisov, hatoilish mem Shabbos chayiv. Zuk the Magen Avraham. That's not talking as savim yivation. The mechaber that being peiros. But if it would be a savim grass, everybody's masking that you put. The loika is a Shabbos. Why is this a machlokes in the this is Shabbos? Okay. Now he brings the didn't shtukan rosh, right? Chuvas rosh? No. Okay. Huh? Okay. Bring to rosh. Chuvas rosh. Klal beis simin dalid. Zik the rosh hazay. Gag into the Mishnah. Mamish into the Mishnah. So maybe tomorrow I'll bring it. Gag shemilu offer. In the aliyah, you have a rooftop, and you fill it up with earth, rooftop garden, right? But not a besach, and he's planting there. I told you, menu chayiv. Take over there, you take it out, you chayiv. But what's is into the Mishnah? Could do a besach, you have novel on my pilot, safalt on my pilot, earth on top of the roof, you chayiv, but it's into a besach. Chaim possibly be a day, a simen beis sadik dalit. So Yosef Mishnah beis perikela the mices. Bank see the Magen Avraham into the Mishnah. V'tzorachin says v'tzorachin. Why are you chayiv? He says ki yikurim to get mustakasha. Dosh leitach when you get to tumah, it's ki yikurim dami you put even though when you get to Shabbos you chayiv. What's frag the Rosh tzorachin? Because the Rosh will hum that if it's akab b'Shabbos when you get to tumah, it's an akab for tumah. Hey, it's got tumah. Tumah goes away. So it's not a mechub the kaka. It should be potter. Why when you get to Shabbos you chayiv? The Rash maybe Yishalmi, the Hainu Dafkin Tumah. Zukta Benegay to Tumah. Why? Because Zer Zerua Shtei. Zer Zerua is Dafkin me for Tumah. Not Benegay to everything else. It's not considered that Nekam and Akaka. It's a special thing. Zer Zerua takes off the Tumah. Avlachol Mili, Ketushin Dami. Miu, Taisis Yontiv, Hevia Yishalmi, Hoyel, Ve'ene, Roitze, Bashosim. Ben in the Gemara. It's on the begins of the Gemara. The Gemara says it's telling you rotzen. If you do want it, then it's a mechubel kaka. U'mesayim achakach. It's also the Rosh. Nafalei ma'poiles into the Mishnah. Va'alim shalahem megulim kideh kedilosim. What does it mean? Alim shalahem. What's meant to by say? Alim shem kedulim. What does that mean? What does that mean? That does it. But Tom Shishu be'aliyah Torah Tamet. No, for like mapoilers, if a mapoilers means earth falls on top of the aliyah, the fire, and it falls on top of these betzolim, beheim mugulin, meaning what? The alim are nikah, it's not covered up, the alim are not, the leaves are not covered up, harein kinetuna b'sodah. Look the Rosh, what's pshat hey mugulin? What does it mean? What does it have to mean? Yom mugulin, nish mugulin, what is it? So the Menafel that says hey mugulin, alim shalahem, kidar gedilosin. It's kidar gedulon, that's how it grows, the leaves stick out. But if you cover up the leaves, not gedali lost, and the should be potter. Gemara and Shabbos. It has to be revised. It has to be normally how it normally grows. Hey, Megulin Kederach Gidilosan. That's the Kederach Gidilosan. Zuk du jetzt the Rosh. Kederach Gidilosan, Herring can tuyim besode. That makes it like it's planted in the soda. But Todesh Mehem B'Shabbos, Yechayev. I feel the Ein Roitze, Pirish Lokte, Ein Roitze B'Shus. Even if you don't want it, B'Shosam, but as you plant it the way it normally grows, it's Chayev. So maybe you see from here, he wants to say that what he's saying, the Roitze B'Shosam, he qualifies it. And he's saying, this is the Gemara says over here, and Daf Mem and Aleph, Roitze B'Shosam, he's qualifying the Choy Rosh. I've seen inside, but he's qualifying. He's saying that that's because it's Der Gilosan. But if you want something which is not Der Gilosan, you put it. If he wants the Alm are not covered up, that's Roitze, that's Derech Bekar, that's how it grows. And if that's how it grows, then it's the Chai. But if you want to plant it in a way that's not how it grows, so he says that would be Taka Enochanama, that wouldn't be Chai, that would Taka be Potter. As I learned to the Choy, the Magavram is learning this shot. That was then the Rosh innovating. But Akaponim, you stay doing the Mechaber, what's a Klor Azar, that when you get to Tumah, it's Kekuren, linear Tumah, it's Kekuren, or when you get to the Din of Elon, when you get to Shabbos, Tumah get back the Tumah, because it's Kekuren. When you get to Shabbos, Elon Shiyovshu, it's not the grass. Grass could be English, but if it's a Elon, you have the Paris on there, even though the Oiz get taken to Paris, Yichayev. What's the Mechayev? Because the fact that it's Yobish, Mach Neshois, that doesn't make it Ois, that it's not Mechuba to the Karka. It still has its Revise Mekaka. What does it mean Revise Mekaka? It still has its nourishment, even though it's a ganze Yobish. So if it's ganze Yobish, then it's hard to understand. What does it mean? It's Revise. The Gemara says over here, and Daf Kuf Zayin and Kuf Ches, Haiman de Tolish Betura Miuna de Chatza Mechayev, Mishim Oike Dove Migdula. Rashi learns that what? Kommen Shugodel Besvas Hadlish, Heine Vise, the Ein Der Zia Bekach, aber Ilu Shumanu, Ike Gedulan. This is how it grows. This grows on top of the Kalim. If the moss grows on top of the Kalim, it's Heine Vise. That's how it says, Ike Gedula, that's why you chayev. Ma'ashenkein, in the Bechaber Zugdu, even though when you get to the Tumah goes away, because it's a Kuren Domim to get to Tumah, not pointing out that the day you have a Pasik, if you have a Pasik, it's under Zah. What's the two shells of Tumah? Tumah is a Pasik. Zera, Zerua, Tash in the Gemara. We saw the Gemara, they all bring this Gemara. And Zera, Zerua, the Pshat is, that's a Dim. But Tumah, once you plant it in the ground, the Tumah goes away. So it's a Kosev. So you should turn out Sikurim, you should out Sikurim. That's not Al Sikurim, what? Okay, but the Gemara said, Zera, Zerua, that's what they all have Pshat. So what's the two shells of the way? He wants to say that has a din of Neka, it's Neka. And when you get to Yovish, when you get to Shabbos, it's not Neka. What's talking of Shabbos? Why when you get to Shabbos, according to the Mechaber, why are you talking on Shabbos? Who's the Yochayim on Shabbos? The Dafn looking at the Pshat is, Rashi stay down the Gemara, B'chayiv, Afi Shein Mechub L'Karka, Me'avir Rovi. What you just mentioned before, by the mushroom. And Mevira comes from the ground. So what? It comes from the Ava. It comes from the Ava. So even though it's not Mechubal L'Karka, I mean, again, the Tumah, we say, the Tumah goes away. It's Torah, because it's called Kurim and again the Tumah. Oh, but here it's not, Shabbos is not totally Dafka. So Chaim points it out. It's not Mechubal to the Karka, because we say that what? Ain't Mechubal L'Karka. So when you get to Trumas and Maises, when you get to Mitzvah Tluis Boretz, it's not Mechubal L'Karka, and you wouldn't be chayiv on these things that grow in such a situation. Or when you get to Shabbos, the Shabbos is Zok the Minazvos, he says it has its nourishment, it doesn't grow from no place, it comes somehow from the ground. It comes Rovi, it comes from the air, Mele, B'sta chayiv, when you get to Shabbos, you chayiv. So when you get to Tumah, the Tumah goes away because the Kurim when you get to Tumah. And Ma'ashenka when you get to Shabbos, if it's a Dova Yovish, so the fact is, the Dova Yovish doesn't make it that it has no more nourishment from the Karka, Migdulam. It's still considered like a Dova Migdulam, and when you get to Shabbos, you take a Chayiv. I get that by